You've heard about the Industrial Revolution. You've probably heard about the French Revolution. But have you heard about the silent public art revolution happening in Western Australia? Art is emerging from galleries and occupying our public spaces and buildings and changing its own nature in that very process. Now in Perth, in the last few years, we've had 3 major beautiful artworks appear. Firstly, that dramatic gesture of Ascalon out the front of St. George's Cathedral in the terrace. Then there's the funky grow your own, or the cactus as we've affectionately termed it, in Forest Place. And then there's the interactive totem outside the new Perth Arena by Jeffrey Drake Brockman, who will be speaking to you later today. Now, the Percent for Art scheme in Western Australia, run by the state government, has seen some 470 projects completed in the last 20 years. For example, every school, primary and high school, now has a piece of contemporary art. Students can engage with that in their everyday lives at school. Local governments have followed suit and have commissioned artworks for their public spaces and parks, as have redevelopment authorities, universities. Everybody is interested in how we can enliven our public spaces. This is part of a global push, culturally, to create more meaningful environments, more meaningful public environments for all of us to enjoy. This push culturally has seen a lot of very innovative projects take place. Art is no longer considered an add-on. Now it's an essential ingredient for public space. It can reflect back to us our values. It can prompt new potentials in consciousness and culture. Now today, I want to talk about 3 things to do with public art: engagement, complexity, and inspiration. And it's interesting that a lot of speakers today have actually been talking a lot about this engagement. The public art process is a transdisciplinary collective process, largely hidden from view. When artwork projects are initiated, I bring together, for example, for a school project, a principal, the parent representatives, a project manager from building management and works, a representative, a client representative from the education department. A whole lot of people come together. We sit there and we talk about what can this artwork be about? How will it engage the students? How will it actually engage with the design philosophy, the architecture of this new school? Now, a fabulous example completed in 2003 is the artwork at Mundaring Senior College. Here the artist was Stuart Green, and he worked closely with the architects Donaldson and Warren to create what was again affectionately termed the red thing. Now this is an abstract artwork. Often people want to already see something that they already know in the artwork. But this artwork was a rectangular steel tube. It ran along a balustrade inside one of the buildings, pierced the wall, got cut off, then re-emerged from the ground of the courtyard, did a number of twists and turns before shooting off into the sky. Now the interesting thing about this artwork, it's completely abstract, and yet the students were able to engage with it, both physically and philosophically. I mean, you can sit on this artwork, you can hang off it, you can lean on it. But you know, when the first students graduated, the head girl and head boy, in their graduation speeches, both referred to the red thing metaphorically. They spoke about it in terms of their lives, taking twists and turns, having a definite pathway through school, and then shooting out of school and not knowing what their future would be. A blank slate for them to create their own future. Now, the second aspect I want to talk about is complexity. And I think Sam actually introduced that context very well. A very complex context for public art is the road reserve. There are a lot of people need to come together to work with artists in this particular context. Engineers, environmental people, landscape architects, project managers, contractors. Projects can take many years to complete. There can be very complex contractual arrangements in place for these projects. Artists may need to participate in community consultation. Often it's with Indigenous people as well. There is an aspect of public art in a road reserve that needs serious consideration, and that's always the consideration of the client, Main Roads. It's safety. Public artworks can contribute to wayfinding and thus assist with road safety. You also need to consider the scale and size of these artworks, because they're going to be viewed not by us walking past, but by motorists travelling at 100 kilometres an hour. They can't just be like normal artworks, they actually need to be considered in a very careful way. Now, Main Roads Western Australia, for the last 10 years, have really been engaging in what is called context-specific design and have introduced alliance contracting. Anne Neal is a Western Australian artist who's pioneered this area of work. These works are on New Forest Highway from Perth to Bunbury, and they contribute to the wayfinding aspect on this road. Anne Neal has pioneered these large-scale relief patterned works. She's also created some fantastic gateway statements. That's often also what's required, an iconic feature to the entry of a city. And this is the fabulous scoop artwork for Mandurah. She's also well known for her wiggle or yellow wiggle poles, lighting sculptures on the Roe Highway. Public art in this kind of context can challenge us really. You know, it challenges our traditional ideas about what art can be. Now thirdly, I want to talk about inspiration. When artists pour their inspiration into their artworks, they can come to life in very unexpected ways. For example, I want to mention the artwork by Tony Jones and Ben Jones, Eliza, standing poised to dive into Matilda Bay on the Swan River. Now, she was commissioned by the City of Perth in 2007 to commemorate the old Crawley Baths, where people of my vintage learnt to swim amongst the jellyfish in the Swan River. Now, people have really engaged Eliza in I think, a wonderful way. Whenever I drive along Mounts Bay Road, Mounts Bay Road to Perth, I'm always looking to see what will she be wearing today? What cause will she be championing? And I'm sure that some of you have been involved in clandestine activity around her at the dead of night, because I have never seen actually anybody dressing her. Now, public art can challenge us, and it can inspire us to imagine the unimaginable. Now, imagine planking naked on Eliza. Now, revolutions do require us to take risks, and I propose that we do need to take risks to move forward. I mean, in the public art area, whether it's about larger budgets or larger scale works, whether it's about encouraging artists to actually be able to experiment with new technologies, new materials, new ways of doing things, working together in different collaborations, we need to encourage this. I propose that we continue this public art revolution in Western Australia and be courageous enough to move forward into this new territory. Thank you.